PC here with, just being default for once, so everything looks quite ugly to me. But today we're going to do how to build a house view. So we'll just start off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4. Just counting up a bit. 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to do something like this. So you probably ask, why are you building something so ugly, and why in default, for God's sake? Well, today I'm going to do a how to decorate exterior tutorial, since I see some houses is so plain that my eyes just barely can handle it. So today I'm going to show you a bit of tips and tricks, little techniques to improve your building on a house. So the first thing that you can do, this is quite a game changer actually. Put down your oak wood logs, make a pillar that would support the house. Since you need something to carry your house, so it'll probably be a wooden frame. You can also leave gaps in between floors, like I'm doing right now, and so we'll basically just have it like this. Boom. This creates a bit of variety. I'm going to stick out these logs soon as well. We're not going to do that yet. So this adds a bit of variety, and now you can go all sorts of ways. You can knock back the walls one bit, or in my case, you can stick the wood logs a bit out, like this. It creates a bit of depth, which you can then do. I'm gonna do that later probably. First we're gonna hit a door and some windows into the house. Well, actually, yeah, you should do it like that. And then this one like this. So now we've got everything one material. That's something you should not do. For the bottom, you might just want to use either stone bricks or cobblestone or stone, or basically anything that would support it. I mostly use cobblestone or 1 code on 8 for conquest users. If you do want to see this tutorial in conquest, I'm going to upload one as well. And at this top bit we might just want something, I don't know, wool. And you can also add variation into this mix. So if you don't want one color of wool constantly, because this still looks pretty bland and pretty damn ugly, to be honest, it just isn't that pretty. So maybe just add some, I'm just gonna add some random stone into it as well. And the thing about randomness is you either do it by world edit, or you just do it on this method. You need to keep this one in mind. It doesn't have to be perfectly in one spot. It needs to be where you wouldn't expect it to be. And moss should definitely always be in the first 2 blocks, dependent on humidity. So to the wool, of course you can add variation to the wool. It's not even a damn question. And yes, you should always try adding a bit of variation into it. Like this. It just adds a little bit of variation. Not really in a pattern. It doesn't look bad. So then, you need some materials like a door. Like a little wooden door there, and then you just go out with your fences everywhere. You can either use fences or glass. And with glass, if you use glass, you can use either the white stained glass pane, since it looks like glass with the sun shining on top of it, or you can use the normal glass pane. But I prefer fences. So now we've got the variation to now. So you can also knock back the wall one bit, so you got more depth and you got some variation. But I'm not going into that path right now. So it's time to get out your cobblestone walls, and this is where we add a lot of detail. You basically add cobblestone wall, fence, cobblestone wall. It's just because it would support the log sticking out a bit. And as you see, it immediately adds depth thing. Really makes it even more pleasant to look at. Now, what material do you use here? You used cobblestone. Try to switch it up with a different material, like use stone bricks here. If you use cobblestone there. It's not because it makes perfect sense, but just because it adds variation. If you see right here. Also, you would want this to be quite heavily fortified. Or basically just steady as a rock. And, you know, we've got some more depth right now. You can also add this to the other floor, right here. Boom. So this looks a bit more pleasant. And now we come to the part where we are going into depth about detailing. It's something that has been something mysterious for beginners in Minecraft. So one thing that you can do is adding flower pots, like big ones, right here. As an example. And then just add a flower that you find nice, and I always like a blue orchid. And we're going to that side, since we are going to do a little archway. Oh no, we cannot do the archway like that. We can still do it like this. So it looks very supported. So immediately you see something has really changed. You don't recognize the simple bits that we just had. So this is something that you can also do the next floor. Like add in arches. Well, I would only do it up for one window. And also, instead of placing this window here, which would be incredibly symmetrical, and that is not very realistic, you can also add in some wood logs to add more variation. Like here, we can do it. Not there. Not there, you stupid mouse. We're going to do it right here. And this one should not be supported anyhow, really, because it adds a bit more variation. It's supposed to add variation to it. Still, let's just see what happens. How about we switch the top one out like this? That's not realistic. So you do this like this, and you'll just have a nice little break up to your little windows right here. Also would add the possibility to add like a room, different rooms, which is also something important for interiors, but I'm not going to cover interiors today. No, it's something I'm going to cover in another video. Today will just be the exterior of houses and how to make them look very good, or at least better than that we would start with, I believe. So sometimes you can also add like tall grass on top of it, or a poppy. Just try and make variation. I mean, do not try to make flowers perfectly aligned. You try having the grass here, because it will be perfectly aligned, and will complement the blue, because you really need to know what color scheme you're using. I think a white tulip would look good with the blue. Or, you know, maybe just go and switch it up completely with some leaves, make it a bit, you know, make it look a bit more overgrown. I'd almost say French, since it is something that French houses would have actually. They mostly have like vines climbing up and these leaves hanging down. And one thing you can do to the logs is add buttons to them. I do not know why. It's something that I've basically found pretty all my freaking life. It's something that I'd like to pass on. And also, if you love variation just as much as everyone else, instead of only doing the stone bricking, add stone slabs here. So now you've got this. And boy, isn't this already a pretty view. Well, I'm going to make it even better since you can add trapdoors here as shutters. Since it is the middle, this is like the Middle Ages, so you probably need them. And then you can add buttons on top for decoration. It's really over detailed, but it's something that you should do sometimes. But, you know, if you're going to do big houses, you should do less detail, otherwise it's going to hurt everyone's eyes, really. So we're done with this all, really. There's nothing I could possibly think of that I can still add. Well, I could probably think of something, but it wouldn't really help, like leaves and stuff. Right now, we gotta break up this little pattern that we've had here. Since 45-degree roof, it is good sometimes. But one thing that you should do better is, you know, add a bit of a curve into your roofs. Like, take for example, two of these, then like this. Add a bit of a curve. You see? Adding in a curve into your build is basically kind of detailing everything up. But the hard part is that you need to fill all of this up. I'm not kidding, you need to fill all of this up. Which is why I don't see many people doing it. But the best is always to add fences here to show bracing. And then on top of this, we can add some logs just to break stuff up a bit. And then we grab some light grey wool, put some around here. So then, you know, one thing that we could still do is maybe add some leaves or maybe add a flower pot here. Because making your house look organic, basically it adds green into the build, making it feel more nature-like. Really just, it could blend in really well with, you know, some terraforming, if you're good at it. Now, we still need a roof. So the first thing you need to think about is, what color roof are we thinking about? My preference for this house would be red. A red roof wouldn't be bad, would it? No, it would not be bad. It would definitely not be bad. So we add in a basic shape of red stained clay, and we continue that for 2 blocks. Now what I see most people doing is they're going to make completely straight roofs. Just like this, completely straight. Oh, So I'm back, and I was at the point where I was saying, don't go straight. Don't go completely straight. What you try and do is mix this up. If you have a little curve in your roof, or maybe have a chimney come out at some point, it is, you know, making it a better roof. So we'll just do that. No, I'm doing that part wrong. I mean, here it's almost like I'm actually going inside there. So I'm not gonna. Another interruption. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm not gonna continue building the entire freaking roof. And maybe just do the sides here, just to show what it would look like from the front. Because you still be able to see the sides, of course. Just placing the fences again. So now we're gonna add some detail onto the roof. So cobblestone walls mostly. Add them on top of here. You add a fence here, and maybe some on the others as well. Some of the last things that you might be able to do is, well, you can add like a little chimney sticking out. And I'm probably also going to show you what to do when you want a flat roof, because this is like a chimney sticking out. But if you do want a flat roof and not one of those fantasy-ish curves, you've come to the right place. Since I can do a bit more than only fantasy. As some of you guys might have told from my videos, like the Let's... Well, you haven't really seen me building a lot. So I'm guessing you don't know that great. What you could do is add windows. Like this. Just little simple windows could make a bit of a difference. And then also one thing I want to cover is flicky bits, or this is how we call them. We call them flicky bits. It's basically just, instead of only having like a little bit of a slope, you basically add some stairs on top to make decoration. Like, we can also do that here, but it wouldn't look as pretty as this. But still, we can do it for the windows. And then basically, instead of having the roof material for the inside of them, you can add something extremely different. Oh no, you can't. Sometimes you just can't. Like in this case, it's just impossible. And then, you know, the stone brick stairs. No, not a melon. Why would I use melon for this? Why? And then again, you add your windows. And again, we're going to use fences. Nothing too fancy. So this is not the greatest example of actually adding windows, really. But it's actually just more of an idea that I want to give you. It's not that this is like the perfect house. No, I'm giving you guys ideas on how to, you know, a little guideline on how to build a house. Like again, we have the chimney sticking out. If you got a flat roof, your chimney might just be a bit bigger and maybe a bit supported. as well. Basically, have it go up like this. The things with chimneys is that make it curved, but not too curved. Like this is too curved. Like a little curve in there is nice. Basically, add that. And again, this is the basic thing for the roof. Now we're going into more things about the roof. So you can go and add organics to it again, and also what we're going to do is decorate it or randomize it. Again, the variation point is very interesting and very interesting to look at. You can either randomize it with red wool or pink stained clay, whichever you find better. But I mostly use pink stained clay just to outfab everyone in a building contest. Just try adding it into random spots. Really do not try applying it randomization, because if you plan it, it's not random anymore. That's basically how you think. So we're also going to add in some red wool, of course, because that would add even more variation. And variation can't hurt, no matter what. The more variation, the better. Only you need to have something the same color as the other actual material or materials that you're using. If you, for example, take like an oak wood plank and you want to randomize it, you don't randomize it with a core block. But I think that is just pure logics. But the thing with the default texture pack is you don't have to hold true to actual materials. Like this red wool, it's not always wool. You can give your own freaking meaning to it. It happens pretty often, actually. I do not know the correct term for it, but I just basically call it like fantasy randomization. And all these conquest people are all talking about how awesome their randomization is and stuff, you know, like the grass randomization is. Well, basically, I'm not going to use X for this. That'll just be a bad example for the wannabe apprentices. But instead of using only grass, you can add some clay into the mix. Some clay will really just help in the mix of things in default, since it's one of your only hopes of actual terrain randomization. Just really, again, pick some random spots. And also pick between the two randomly. And, you know, in some case you really need the grass. It's best to actually use them in contrast. Only don't try to actually make shapes with them. And try to use them all just as much. So you see, now you have got grass variation. You can only, of course, like replace the grass with the stained clay. Only half stained clay. That's all fine by me. And then, oh my god, it was like a tutorial for house exterior. Now we're just talking about randomization and stuff. It's like, really. But one thing that you could add to your house, just to say something, is replace some of the leaves with birch leaves. It sounds a bit like weird when I say it just like that, but you gotta think for a second. If randomization is so good, you should really do it. Because it's almost invisible randomization, but it's a slight difference in color that will really actually matter without people actually noticing it. So the whole thing with building is that you've got two sorts of building. You've got detailed building, which is something that I would recommend for beginners, since it's the easiest form, and it's actually just mashing together of objects and using a lot of stairs and slabs. And you've also got realistic detail. It's something I might just go into further down the line of tutorials and stuff and how-to videos. But it's something that is not yet meant for beginners. And as the conquest people are always talking about their fancy smoke, we also have fancy smoke. We call it stained glass. Yes, you can add stained glass into the mix of your smoke. You get this. It's not as good as the actual smoke in the conquest pack, but it is a little something that we should appreciate. And of course we can add in some paints into the mix. That's actually the good part of default, is that we can actually use the paints to do effects. Because all the paints in Conquest are all actual realistic windows. So that's one thing that we can say, just suck on that. We'll just do that like that. And you know, most people actually use cobwebs. I would suggest using this because of personal preferences. And they add some randomization to the chimney as well. Well routed. But it's simply default building is not about using fancy methods like Conquest. It's about depth and randomization mostly. The detailing part is of course actually the depth and variation that we have, since this roof, it's pretty flat on top, and apart from the chimney and the window there's nothing. But still it looks like it's extremely busy. Why? Because of the randomization that we've added. And that's how it works. So we covered a bit more than the actual house exterior just because of my habits of actually completing everything. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you really found it helpful. If you did, great. Post in the comments if you did. If you want to see a specific tutorial, like maybe you want to specifically see this aspect of building or this tree kind, you know, I can also do trees. You can ask me anything in the comment section. I'm online on DakrCraft very often, so you can, you know, just chat with me and actually request stuff. Maybe I can help you personally. It's something I wouldn't really mind doing. So again, give this video a thumbs up, and this was Pineapple on PC with this little Steve skin right now, since my internet's kinda buggy. And I will see you all in a next video.